And I'm live. Almost on time. The incident that stopped me from being on time was the fact that you open something and it kind of fizzes a lot. So my beer fizzed on me. Oh, lots of things to talk about here. Earliest greetings from Seattle. Awesome. Oh, I should probably change the brand here to Vlog Thursday and my Launch Systems logo. It's still the Home Lab Show logo. There we go. Got it switched. Excuse me. But welcome to Vlog Thursday, number 355, Firewalls. Firewalls and Cisco flaws, Kentucky Fried AI, and Tech Talk. There'll be all kinds of stuff all over the place. And let's see. Ooh, someone from Ypsilanti. I'm just going to point that out. Ypsilanti is a cool place. I definitely greetings from Ohio. So we got people. I love all the different places people are from. Looks like there's a lot of discussion that already kicked off before everything started going. And I'm going to turn on my space heater because I'm a little chilly right now. It is finally winter. Well, winter-ish here in Michigan. Here I sit watching the network stream while moving through my pfSense CE, which will not be changing. All right. And the same popular Fox shows that got canceled. Yeah. Watched awesome launch system live stream, but unfortunately my tummy is upset from the medicine mishap. Oh, okay. All kinds. We have people from Paraguay. Ooh, I don't know how to say that. Dubuque? 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 I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. Paraguay and the UK, Maryland. Yeah, I don't know. It is quite late in the UK, I imagine. But let's put things in order of what I have in the list. Firewalls. Actually, maybe we'll talk about Cisco flaws first. Cisco flaws, I think, might be a good starting point. There you go. Dubuque. Got it. So where are my vlog notes? Because I thought this was interesting, and some of you may find it interesting. Switch from OpenSense to pfSense as OpenSense had issues with VPN and routing. You know, I don't know if this needs its own. I don't want to sound like I'm just trying to disparage OpenSense because someone's going to, well, no matter what, someone's going to accuse me of that. But one of the challenges I brought up with OpenSense is the fact that they are still running the old version of OpenSSL. And this is a problem because it is not supported anymore. So if there's a major bug found in OpenSSL, or even minor bugs, but major ones are usually the ones you're concerned about, that's not going to get fixed. And they don't seem to have a roadmap for when they're doing it. And you could say, but Tom, it is November 2nd of 2022 or 2023, and pfSense is running on an outdated version of OpenSSL. Yes, but they're in beta with their fix for it. So it has a timeline by which it's getting fixed. That is one of those things that I'm really, it's why there's not many firewalls. Actually, I recommend checking out our home lab show we just did Wednesday. I did a long explainer for all the collections of open source firewalls out there and talked about them and why throughout history. I went through like 20 years of firewall history condensed down into about 45 minutes. But there's just so much that firewalls were simple back then and easy, and now they're very complicated, and security is of the utmost importance, and managing these things is absolutely a big deal. Like being able to have this set up securely and not worry about some type of code problem with these makes it much harder to write a firewall today. Well, it's not that it's become harder, it's that the threats have become better and more sophisticated. This was not an issue. Those old firewalls, if you fired them up today, are definitely going to have tons of security flaws. It's just the way the internet has evolved. As the attacks have become substantially more complicated and more advanced, the defenses also have to match that. So a firewall today is a far more complicated device to make secure than it was, because the need was not necessarily there about 20 years ago, not like it is today. Ooh, someone else has a Voodoo IPA. FreeBSD 14 release is due any day. They were delayed because of OpenSSL 3. Yes, there, people, and this is just some foreshadowing. The people at Netgate definitely, I'm not in defense of their dummy move they did. I've talked about this enough already, like of changing things around with pfSense Plus and changing them back. But the reason they went to FreeBSD 14 and people criticized them for this, and I don't understand. I'm like, they kind of seen the writing on the wall that there was going to be the ability to support. And one of the things they mentioned was the problems with the technical debt that's going to come with 13. And because they are co-contributors to fixing the OpenSSL problem, they're among the people fixing it. They understand the complexity of the problem and the security risk that comes with not fixing OpenSSL. So they moved to BSD 14. And because pfSense only puts the things they need in to build the firewall, they are very in control of how that firewall gets built, and they understand the risk of running something that's not full release. It doesn't make pfSense unstable because they're not using the features that may be unstable in FreeBSD 14. And now they're going to be able to take advantage of the modern OpenSSL that is under support and not have to deal with as much drama that is going to go on with the 13 version, which is going to take longer to get fixed and get support. Upgrade to FreeBSD 14 doesn't even appear on the OpenSense roadmap. Yeah, that's it. Not only, I mean, I know you're going to be able to, and I know, Sam, you're more of a BSD person than me, but I believe they're, is it 13.1? I'm not sure exactly how it's working in BSD. They're going to get OpenSSL 3, but if you look at OpenSense's blog, they pinned to the OpenSSL 1.1.1 to avoid the breakage because that's what their current solution is. It's not about avoiding breakage. At some point, it's about, do you have the engineering team that can put together the solution? I mean, hey, I'm all for open source firewalls and things like that. And I talked about IP Fire and OpenWRT, but one of the things I keep bringing it back to is, do you have, or do those projects have more specifically, the engineering teams needed to make that a modern firewall that has modern security with modern library support underneath, so we're not running a bunch of risks? And if you're wondering where the risk is with OpenSSL, the specific risk is going to be in your VPNs. So if you're not using VPN, you may, depending on what flaw may be found in the future with OpenSSL and an unsupported version, it may just require you to stop using your VPN. But maybe that's a big concern to you, or maybe the security of your VPN is a big concern. And so this is why we have to be very careful about that. So the Cisco topic, though, let's go ahead and bring that up because I think this is a fun talking point. We'll get to Kentucky Fried AI. That's my off-topic thing that we're going to talk about. Now, a couple pieces here to the Cisco, and let me give everyone a link in case anyone wants to read along. I'm going to put it up on the screen here, but I also dropped the link. And oh, by the way, I have the vlog Thursday there. I actually have a couple emails I didn't pull up just yet, but I'll read those on air in just a moment. Hey Tom, is that syslog bug in TrueNAS related to the lack of progress reporting and cloud sync tasks? Not to my knowledge, because this is just syslog when you export it. That's another live stream I did about the TrueNAS Galcobia. The bug report has got a target to be fixed in the point release, but it's only if you're using an external log server. I happen to use one. That's how I noticed the bug. So Cisco advisories, and this is related to firewalls as well, because active exploitation of Cisco iOS XE software web management user interface vulnerabilities. Now, someone can be screaming from the clouds, will you quit exposing management faces to the internet or even to the local non-managed side of your network where all the users and guests reside? Yes, I agree with that 100%. If you're setting things up right, your management interfaces are not exposed. Unfortunately, there's a lot of these exposed. Shodan has proven there is a ton of these exposed. I wish people didn't expose management interfaces, but that's kind of a different topic. That's just a stop doing that topic. I like that Cisco, though, didn't have any problem diving into a lot of the details for what went wrong. So there's a lot of information in here, but we didn't really have 100% of it. Ongoing exploitation guidance mitigation, how to check if it's there, etc. I thought this was kind of cool by the people at Horizon 3. And hey, why not? I'll drop a link to them too for anyone who wants to see it. And it really came down to I like this was easier summarized. Like I said, really deeper dive that you'll find on Cisco, but this was the deeper dive that came out on or the overview one that came out October 30th of exactly what happened in a very short way. So bad path parsing is what enabled this flaw. And it's actually kind of interesting because they found this from uh a honeypot. So a honeypot was set up to emulate a Cisco. Someone tried the exploit and then they were able to start reverse engineering what they did. And this is one of those really important details. So in our previous post, we theorized an attacker would somehow need to reach WebUI WSMA underscore HTTP or WebUI WSMA HTTPS endpoints. The crux of this vulnerability is in the first line of the request post. The clever encoding of the WebUI WSMA bypasses the Nginx matches discussed in the previous post and allows us to reach the WMSA service in IOSD. It is clear now that the proxy URI source header and the patch intended to prevent the attacker from acting this by setting the default header to value global internal for legitimate requests. Now, let me explain that in a little bit easier. I like that they're very concise here, but let's explain this a little bit. It's what they've done is they crafted something that kind of got by Nginx, but allowed people. This is how it got a CVSS. I believe the CVSS on this was 10 because it really allowed you to get right to the management agent. So essentially, the web services management agent didn't just accept commands from Nginx, it could accept commands externally. Now, why this is important and why this is interesting is if you're thinking about that from programmatic standpoint. So you have this web interface that sits on top, and then you got this web services management agent, and it's going to expect commands coming from the system. And you're writing this not thinking that this part could be exposed externally. That's actually pretty complicated because Nginx sits on top and everything else. But someone found a way to bypass Nginx and get something into the web service management agent. And because they didn't filter it to accept only from a local command, it actually was able to accept a remote command, but they weren't expecting this. This is where secure coding comes in. And this can be very tricky to do because, well, you think of something as an internal service. And if it's only listening internally, you're like, oh yeah, they don't have, this is not the service is exposing. It only gets information passed through Nginx before it gets to here. Then it gets handed off to become commands on the back end of the system. So this is really just a minor tweak that they had to make. But this goes on all over the place. There's so many things because once it's been built, how often do people go back and audit it? And this is Cisco. I mean, I'm not throwing shade at Cisco when it comes to security because the Talos group, they are good. They are not amateurs. They give really good debriefs. I think they do a good job on a lot of this. And this is their modern equipment, but there's still flaws being found in these. This brings it back to that earlier firewall discussion of if there was enough resources put at poking at some of these other firewalls, how well will they stand up? How well will they withstand if they become popular? Or will someone just happen to find one of these flaws within there and be able to find a management agent that accepts a different command than was expected because they didn't lock it down that well? It's an interesting problem to think about because there's a ton of technical debt here. Think about having to go and check this. Now, here is the real question of what's going on at Cisco. Is Cisco now going through, because I think there was a follow-up CVE with some of the Cisco IO stuff, but more specifically, how much of their equipment are they going through and looking at how the internal agents that are expecting commands from other web interface software to then interact with this middleware on the other side that passes the commands, how many of them are really locking that down and confirming that this works? This is a really sophisticated attack. And this is one of those things. Attacks just keep getting more complicated. And where there's smoke, there's fire. So more people are going to try this. Maybe other people who program things in a similar way will try this. This is just the way attacks keep evolving, and why things like firewalls, things like not exposing your management ports becomes more and more important on there. Yeah, it's really interesting that this attack at its complexity level, it just it seemed to go pretty heavy on the internet. It was definitely pretty wild, but really interesting though. Mm. Comment on the Boeing cyber attack. I mean, here's the thing. I've said this a lot. You're going to only notice the big companies because they're the only ones worth reporting when they get attacked. I actually tell clients this. This is something I tell the salespeople to tell clients this. I've said this before in different talks. I've said this before on my YouTube channel. Your company is probably not too small to get hacked. You're just too small to make the news. This is just going on all the time. And as someone who manages security for small businesses, the reality is, if one of these small law offices that we work for, unless they were the lawyer for someone famous in, or lawyers for a large company where there was information exploited, nobody cares when a law office gets popped. No one cares when a dental office gets popped, but they all get popped so frequently that the news doesn't care. It's a crazy thing. So I don't really have any particular comments. I don't have any insider knowledge on the Lockbit stuff. I do know, and this is something I'll share with people, Cloudflare had a bad day. How's Cloudflare doing these days? This was an interesting. I'll actually pull up because this was discussed over on Reddit. I have friends that work in the area that were able to share some more information with me. That I can't make that public, but we can talk about what's going on here. We'll share this tab instead over on Reddit. But Cloudflare, I didn't see what their status is now. Ooh, this is an all day one here because Cloudflare dashboard API service issues. Cloudflare is seeing gradual improvements. This has been going on all day here. So there's a lot of updates on this. And let's find the information we're looking for here. Because there we go. So there was a power loss at PDX02. So right here is the information. This was found on Reddit, and it takes a lot to knock out a data center. Now, my understanding, because I talked to someone who was in the general area, if you will, and said, yeah, power's on here. The data center doesn't seem to have all the power. It takes a lot of, it either takes a lot of things to go wrong for a data center to go wrong, or one thing, your power delivery system within a data center. Now, I am still editing all the data center video that I took, because I love to talk about this power delivery system. And hey, we have some relevant topics here, because this power system taking out a data center obviously was bad news for Cloudflare. And Cloudflare is a redundancy company. They have redundancies places, but even with redundancies, I have a friend who went through some pretty big, they suffered a large outage because their multi-cloud failover system didn't fail over the way they expected it to. This is one of those things that's really hard to test in production because you're kind of scared to do it. You're like, can we fail over to another data center on a Tuesday just to try it out, see how things work? And it seemed like sometimes it works, but when a data center actually just loses power, how's that failover working now? And that is that can be a real challenge. I didn't see if my friends at Def tweeted anymore. I have a lot to do. Right now I'm working on a video that'll be out tomorrow, I think, with Blumera. And let's see, did they post any more pictures? No. I was hoping they had a little more. So they tweeted one more picture of me. I was just so excited to be there. This is a big place, something that you have to feel and experience. I mean, just the volume of air moving by me. Yeah, you're standing in just a air dryer. So yeah, the data center video is coming along. I have a lot of things going on, so it's taking me time, but hopefully I'll get something out. I also am working with them just to double check everything. I don't want to expose anything that may have been proprietary information. So this is not a sponsor video with the data center. This is just me getting to hang out there. So I told them, I would be polite and share the video with them privately first to make sure there's nothing in there that there's any problem with me sharing. So it's going to be kind of fun. Yeah, the power consumption of the data center is huge. There is no doubt about that. Difficult to duplicate lightning strikes. Oh, it's not just lightning strikes. It's the way things happen when there's a complete failover with a data center. Like, a power loss at data center is wild. It doesn't happen often, but hey, it's a thing. And actually, a few years ago, back when I think it was Sears and Kmart after the merger. I have one of their data centers. I had several tech friends that were techies for those companies. If you didn't know, Kmart was based here. And man, the data center problems they had were really interesting. And it came down to something stupid happening where someone knew the power interconnect problem that they were having, and it went down, and it stopped all credit card transactions, everything else when the data center went down. They fixed it with a used part that broke 3 months later and had exactly the same incident. Now, the cost was incredible to shut down all the credit card processing for a large store. This is a number of years ago. And the cost savings of using a used part were so minimal. It was so minimal. Everyone's like, why didn't you just order the new one? And no one really had an answer. Someone just put some type of used part in it was something with the power coupling system for the failover. And it's like, while it was down, you could have bought new, but you said, we'll just put the used one in, and it broke. I remember it being like the funniest discussion. People got fired. That was the end result of that. uh, yeah, awesome. DC's a lot of people like yourself to show us some of the cool stuff inside. Yeah, I'm excited to show that. Apparently, multiple breakers tripped and failed at PDX02. Yeah, I think that's in there. How are switchgear breakers unreliable? The thing is with these data centers, what I've really learned is there's a lot of not just cutting edge, but even how they assemble them is almost like a trade secret because there's not many people that know how to do it. So if you're a company and you have a skilled engineering team at building this, you don't necessarily let all that information out because it's a very competitive market space. So I learned a lot more about the data center in a few angles I just didn't realize existed before. Any solution that can help convert ASA rules to a NetGate appliance? Not that I'm aware of. It's sometimes just running through and punching all the rules into a spreadsheet so you can then make a checklist of all the rules you have to create. I don't know of any tools to do it, but I will suggest ChatGPT. So if you actually told ChatGPT, hey, here's all these rules, can you convert them to, and it actually probably knows how to make PF rules, well, that might be a way to do it. Actually, you know what we should do? I haven't. Can I do this? Oh, let's see here. We'll go new chat. Let's see here. It's funny because I'm putting this into Chat GPT. Create a net template rule. Let's just create a template. Basic template for pfSense in their backup XML format. Let's see if it knows pfSense. I'm just asking ChatGPT here. Wow, it does. It's a slightly older version, but you can import older versions in if you didn't know. We'll throw a it's building it though. Look at this. It started some of the template for it. I don't know if this will work because obviously I did this on the fly, and that's really clever. So I would actually recommend using ChatGPT. There's my answer for you. Let's see here. Oh, I'll read some emails in just a second. What's the frame CD behind me? That's actually from Huntress. I don't think I can really. Huntress, once they broke the 2 million endpoint, they sent all of us early users of Huntress that are also big users of Huntress. I don't know exact criteria. I know there's only like 8 or 9 people from the earliest days of Huntress that got these. So me, which is funny because me and Jason Slagle both got them, and then our companies merged. So we're kind of joking that there's technically one less in some ways, but I have one and Jason Slagle has one for CNWR. So after the merger happened, there's one for each of us. I don't think there's a way to get Tailscale on an ASA, but I don't know. I just found out Bash can be used as a programming language, not just as bat files, but fully fledged programming language. Yes, you could do all kinds of fun things. Craft Computing reached out a video about how to turn NVIDIA 4090 into 16 cards shared in Hyper-V. It's now possible consumer cards. That's awesome. He's got the best videos on that. Me and Jeff talk regularly. He's great. One of the things Jeff said that really makes me laugh is Jeff has a new problem. Jeff has become such the authority on how to parse and share these video cards that when he has a problem, he gets cluttered with search results of him with the responses and forums and everything else and videos. So he's now become so authoritative on the source, he becomes the reference source. Fun stuff. My grandma's stuck behind firewall rules. When we get out is translate them into something Netgate appliance will understand to set my grandma free. Yes. It's, I wrote the gray log rules. I told people, I'm not hiding it. I used ChatGPT to write my gray log importers. They work great. The trick with ChatGPT is specifying the latest. Yes, sometimes it gives outdated advice, but you can coax it to get more specific. That's absolutely true. How do I get Huntress in my home lab? You don't. Sorry, there's not anything. They're not doing home user stuff. It's just too hard. So there's not really any way to get Huntress in the home lab. It's a business tool. Have you messed with Corel at all? If I had to start over, I would try it on I would try it instead of my UNVR. No, I haven't messed with it at all. Let's read a couple emails though. So I always I try to answer some of these people. Here's all kinds of fun ones. Now, this one is cool. I actually think this is a neat topic that someone else had brought up. So let's go ahead and pull this over. I'm just going to straight up be honest. I was not aware of this before this person sent the email. So thank you who sent this person who sent the email, which was OpenWisp. I think this is a cool project. Now, I can't speak for the quality of it, whether or not it's a great secure project, but just that it's a project and it's kind of cool. It's openwisp.org. Now, what this is a management interface to manage a bunch of OpenWRT installations. Now, OpenWisp, why WISP? Well, if you're not familiar with the wireless ISP market in rural areas, it's very popular, but the unfortunate part, and I've mentioned before that my dad lives in a very rural area of Michigan, so he's getting internet from a WISP. They don't work on the best margins often, and hey, there's some trickiness with that. That being said, they need some tools to manage things that are very cost effective because if you look at how spread out people are in some of these rural areas, it's hard. My dad pays a lot of money for not very fast internet, but it's the only internet you can get. The other option is not having internet. There's not any in between. Oh, you can have dial up. So dial up or terrible satellite. Satellite internet's terrible. I mean, Starlink is the next best thing. Starlink's actually probably cutting into some of the WISP markets, but when you have a largely spread out, low density in terms of potential subscribers, you need budget things, and I think this is really cool. Yeah, Starlink is pretty good. Like Starlink is better than I say satellite. I think of like, and I don't even know who makes it anymore. Is it Dish and Hughes that still makes it? I haven't looked at satellite internet in forever. Starlink is actually pretty good because they put the infrastructure in to make it better. But WISP is still going to be pretty popular. You're going to get lower latency on a WISP versus Starlink. I mean, I say dial-up's the only other thing available, but is dial-up still available in areas? I really don't know. I don't know the answer to that question, but I thought this was cool. Thank you for the emailer who sent this in, and it's greatly appreciated. I think it's something worth noting here. Let's see here. Advertisement. I don't care about those ones. Let's bring up the next email. You were talking about OpenWRT in your discussion. That's the wrong one. That's the email I just read. Because they said, hey, did you know about OpenWISP? I didn't. Let's talk about backups. This one actually just came in 2 hours ago. Question regarding XCPNG backup. In the event your host takes a crap, you got all your backups going through XOA on a file share. Do you need to spin up a host, sign into your XOA, and pull those backups and drop them on the new host? Essentially, yes. What if your XOA is on that host? Can you make a new XOA and just point the backup folder? I will see everything. Or is it that only XOA is allowed to see that share? If you're screwed, you can't get XOA. If so, I'm guessing you should always keep XOA separate. I only have one host. Fun topic here. So this is actually pretty cool. And we'll show you how this works by showing you 2 different instances of Zen Orchestra. Let me pull up one and I'll pull up the other. So this is kind of neat. So if we go here, view this tabs, backup, restore, actually no, settings, remotes. So here's my remotes on this particular system. These are the backup locations for XCPNG. So this one's called Offsite Production Backups. Can you guess what's there? These are production backups. Seems kind of obvious. And we have a third one here called TrueNAS Trinity Lab Backups. This is just where all the lab stuff goes. So everyone on the lab has access to this. So this instance of Zen Orchestra has access to 3 different ones. Now, simultaneously, we have this over here. So we're going to go over to the other instance. This is a completely separate instance of Zen Orchestra. And we go settings, remotes. It only has access to one. Now, what's cool is this is simultaneous. I can now have both of these accessing it. So not only can they see it if you spin up a new Zen Orchestra instance, they can see it at the same time. So if I were to back something up over here, let me see, what do I have I can back up? I have a demo. Tom Lab backup. Yes. So here's a Delta backup we can run on this instance right here. So this was last run on October 31st. Let's go ahead and run it now. Are you sure you want to run Tom Windows 10 backup lab? So yep, let's go ahead and run this. This will kick off and run. We're gonna have a task kicking off and okay, it backed up. This is a fast system, so it backs up really fast. Started. It's now merging the backups because it's a Delta, so it's got to do a merge to get rid of the Delta extras and purge the last one. And then from there, it says successful. So we have a successful backup here on November 2nd, 2023. Now let's go over to our other system, and we're going to go to setting, backup, restore. Hey, look, Windows 10 Lab, and if we hit restore, there's our backup at November 2nd. 2023. So yes, they can actually talk both at the same time, which is pretty cool. So the answer to this person's question, yes, you can do this, and yes, they can point, but yes, you may want to you can keep XOA somewhere else. I talked about this as well. I have numerous XOAs running, I have numerous versions of XOs and Orchestra running at the same time. And you can run this even in TrueNAS scale right here. Oh, look at update. Let's go ahead and update it. But I'm running this in My TrueNAS scale server, I have an instance as well. So no problem running it in all the places that you want to run it. So, hey, I like when we're doing it live. I like updating everything. Let's see. I see lots of people's got problem with their caps locks. Paying $85 for 85 bucks for gig. Yeah, internet varies a lot in price, that's for sure. There's a lot of variation there. Oddly, let's see what this other question is, if this is something I can answer on air. Let's see. Any chance you could explain how you would back up from a cloud storage node such as Azure or Azure Blob Container back to NAS for safekeeping for clients that are only cloud-based, no on-prem, etc.? Can we secure the storage node data while keeping costs in mind? Yes, you can. A video on this would be amazing. Even Azure storage node seems to not have an automated option. I don't do enough Azure storage, so I may have to call in a friend or an expert to make that video. But I can talk about that. One of the things that we were talking about the other day, and I see them right here. I'm using TrueNAS Core for backups on Raiders My Prime as decent lab setup. Do you think TrueNAS to TrueNAS makes more sense? I think TrueNAS to TrueNAS makes more sense because you can do ZFS replication. It's the same reason Synology to Synology makes so much sense, because if you're using like the ButterFS on two Synologies, you can snapshot the two Synologies back and forth with each other. There's a lot of cool automation that you have built in there. And same thing with TrueNAS. Two TrueNASes syncing things together. And let me pull this up under data protection. This is something I do, for example. This is going to be, well, actually, this is the bad example. Let me find the right example. There we go. Replication. Why am I looking wrong spot? Tom's computer to Purple NAS and LTS videos to Purple NAS. This is a synchronization using block level synchronization. So the replication, as it's called in ZFS. I have this set to go to another TrueNAS that I have. So it's constantly, it's called Purple NAS for anyone wondering, because it has a bunch of WD Purple drives that I had acquired that were for a project that never happened. So I ended up putting a bunch of these large spinning drives in there. Now it's a slow system. It's only a 1 gig system, but I'm fine with that because it's my video backup. As long as the videos get backed up, I'm happy. So I always on site have a constant replication going to have an extra copy of my videos on another server. I see people talking about the backups built into the Synology NAS. That's where, to answer the person's question that was asking, let me see if I can pull up my Synology NAS and not reveal all my secret information here. Pull up the Synology next and pull up the active backup. Sure way just to show me the data storage. Hold on. We just want to pull up the storage manager, storage analyzer. Oh, there we go. Cool. So something I just really like, and this goes back to answering the question. I don't know specifically about Azure Blob because I don't have an Azure Blob set up, but there's different things you could probably do to back it up. So this is a breakdown of some of the data that I've got stored in here. I actually don't, I had only temporarily put some of my, whoops. There we go. Information in here in terms of my videos. This is not all my videos. I do have some of them backed up here because I was doing some testing. It's trickier to get TrueNAS to back up to your Synology. It's not as easy. But active backup for business. Hey, look, we've got the different PCs I have backed up. So we've got about 470 gigs there, all shares, active backup Google Workspaces. It's crazy how well this compresses. There's 210 gigs backed up there. I'm actually shocked because I have 300 something thousand emails, but they don't all have attachments, and it's backing up all those perfectly fine. So that's just kind of clever the way this works and backs everything up. Only 200. It feels so small to say 215 gigs in photos. It doesn't even feel like much anymore. It's not. It doesn't feel like that much data. My current company is backing up 4 terabytes of stuff to the cloud service over a 3300 domestic broadband. Yeah. I asked Azure backup questions, so thanks for answering. I just happened to buy 2 DS 1522 pluses to use this backup. If I can get some Azure storage and on-prem and automated shelf. Yeah, so I'm using it to back up my Google Workspace, but we just sold a very large server, very big server to a client because they're a legal firm that has a big need. They have a ton, because thinking law firm here, they have a ton of attachments and years worth of data, and they want to have on-prem a massive index of all of their emails. And Synology is a solution that we sold them on because it works really well. If you want to have all your data on-prem, Synology doesn't have recurring license fees, and it's a nice system to do exactly what you want to do. Take all that data from the cloud, back it all up, and have a local copy of all of it that you can search through. Because if something happens in your cloud, it's like, hey, this is a challenge. It's funny because some companies, you go to the cloud because it's more practical to keep email in the cloud, but your backups can actually then be on-prem. On-prem is your offsite cloud backup, your personal cloud backup. It's kind of interesting. I think it's pretty cool. Who triggered the honeypot? Oh, this is a demo honeypot. Never mind. I'm doing a video for a tool we use called Blumera. So I've got more notices than I normally would have for things. Greetings from San Antonio. Got to find some barbecue. I love barbecue. Travis may or may not know about the project. Hey, Tom, will you do the traditional TechTuber hardware giveaway of awesome server builds? I don't know. That takes a lot of sponsorship money. I don't have, in case you didn't notice, there are very few sponsors on my channel. Maybe I'm working on that. It's a love-hate relationship you have with sponsors, and you have to find the right balance of, I want to do what I want to do. Sponsors may have opinions and they want you to share certain opinions on there. So figuring it out is hard. I could be making so much more with my channel if I said yes to a lot more sponsors that I don't say yes to. I just want to bring that up that I'm trying to keep that at a minimum, but if you want to do hardware giveaways, it almost requires a lot of sponsorship to do that. So I like giving away stuff. I think that's fun. I also have a problem with giving away stuff because YouTube can have rule problems with that, and I don't really want to. Yeah. So is that by choice, lack of sponsors? Yeah. So the reality is, you have to ask the question. This is an existential life question. How much money should you make for all the time? And I spend a lot of time, doing the YouTube thing, in addition to all the other research things I do to bring you the YouTube thing. Sponsors make that easier. And especially, I don't have an editor to pay, but I am hiring people. I just hired some marketing people to help me rebuild my website and things like that. So I hired a designer who's working on some new shirt ideas. As I ramp up some of those expenses, I go, well, I kind of got to make more money to maintain my income, but I have additional outgoing money. So it's a hard balance to figure out, because you can certainly push a lot more sponsorship and make a lot more money. There's a reason you see a lot of YouTubers driving exotic cars. Good news, Tom doesn't care about exotic cars. No interest in me. So I make a good living at what I do, but I also have tried to minimize the amount of ads, because most of the time I just want to do what I want to do. But Blumera is going to be a sponsored video. So I do have a sponsored video coming up. But if you notice, I'm not reading mattress ads or food subscription ads I've been trying to really avoid those or shilling VPN companies. Savage jerky. Beef jerky ads are pretty cool. I like beef jerky. You have a Tesla, Tom. That's fancy. I mean, here's the thing. What do you that becomes its own thing. And I'm certainly not someone who cares much for it's a whole genre of people who want to just share how much wealth they have. Like they construct their life around all the material ownings they have. I've never been into that, so it's really not my style. So yes, a Tesla's kind of fancy. And like I said, I do very well. I've had a good career in tech that paid me well. I've invested. I'm going to be doing an update on a company I invested in, which is Fin Security. So I'm an investor in that company and things like that. So I want to. We're going to be talking about that pretty soon. I have an investor meeting that I probably won't be attending because I don't always attend them all. There's an investor meeting tomorrow with Fin Security that I read all the notes. And things like that. But yeah, I'm not into I try to minimize as much as I can a lot of things like that. Oh yes, Raid Shadow Legends. So me and many other of my YouTube friends, which are going to include people like Jeff Geerling, Wendell, and Craft Computing, and the bearded IT guy, Chris from Crosstalk Solutions. There's a lot of other YouTubers that I'm all friends with, and we talk. We make so many jokes about Raid Shadow Legends. Like, there's definitely we were. It's and as we meet new YouTubers, my friend Veronica has just gone full time. Being a YouTuber, and it's like her rite of passage will be you're a full time YouTuber once you get your Raid Shadow Legends offer. Let's see. Um, oh, which Model 3? How do you like it? I love it. So I'll wander off topic before we get to Kentucky Fried AI here in a second. My Tesla has about 70,000 miles. Wait a second, how many miles are on it? SLA. Hold on. I'll pull a picture of it up at the just so I answer the question. So for anyone wondering, that is what my Tesla looks like. And it currently has 70,400 miles on it. So it's a Model 3. It's wrapped, and because I like things colorful. But that is what a car looks like after it's been wrapped for 4 years, in case anyone's wondering. So definitely, I mean, it's not exotic. You're right, but it's weird looking. So yeah, it's definitely kind of fun. AMG sound pack for the Tesla? No. You're really making a build up for the Kentucky Fried AI. So the Kentucky Fried AI is going to be completely to make everyone laugh because this happened. And yeah, so this is this is an exotic Tesla. I think I have here. I'll pull this up. This popped up today in my Facebook memories, and I'll share it with everyone. Where'd it go? Here we go. So there's a video I did. This is from 2019 from when I bought it. So yeah, that's what it looks like in the sun. Sorry about the potato resolution. Facebook does that. Yeah, they only allow SD quality. I don't know why. Whatever. It's Facebook. But yep, that's just my Model 3. All right. Now, yeah, Facebook. If you have a memory in Facebook, it definitely has a much lower quality. So let's pull up the Kentucky Fried AI. because I'm sure more people have commented. It's posted on my LinkedIn, so I'm going to pull it up from there. So let's see here. Basically, I get a lot of BS that want to offer sponsors, like Raid Legends. They do reach out. They're like, "Hey, you're on YouTube." So I now get these weird AI ones. These are new. These came up. They've come out for a little while, but this one in particular made me laugh a lot because Jason Slagle's seen it because we were just talking about it. He goes, "What in the Kentucky Free AI? What in the Kentucky Fried AI is this BS?" I started laughing. Um, Excitement abounds to forge a connection with up and coming vloggers. Our company at Kentucky Fried Chicken is enthusiastically exploring a unique opportunity for a mutually beneficial alliance aimed at promotional integration centered around our iconic KFC products. The core of our vision is to amplify our brand's visibility and shine a spotlight on our line of deodorants. Through engaging, genuine content and honest appraisals, we are convinced your distinctive voice harmonizes seamlessly with the essence of our brand. It's hard to even read that with a straight face. I'm sorry. It's just great. So this is the Kentucky Fried AI that I don't even know what to say. It made me laugh. I give them I give them an A plus in the making Tom laugh, and Jason Slagle saying, "When the Kentucky Fried AI is this." I mean, this was a sales thing sent to us. I'm like, this is great. I kind of want Kentucky Fried Chicken deodorant now. I didn't know I wanted it, but if I thought this was a real product and not from some random spammer, I would have replied if this was from Kentucky Fried Chicken. This is the sponsorship I would do. But this you can find on my LinkedIn. Mm. I should say, find on my LinkedIn is a pretty rough thing. LinkedIn sucks at search, in case you didn't know. But what I'll do is I'll link to the post for those of you that would like a link to it. So somewhere, where the hell do you even link to a post in LinkedIn? I don't know. I'll figure that out in a second. Is there a way to create a link? Where is it at? Oh, it's at the top here. Hold on. Uh, Copy link to this post here for anyone who just wants to connect with me on LinkedIn. I don't even know if that URL is going to work or not, because LinkedIn is trash at finding things. But the answer to that's pretty easy. Bing, the company that owns Bing, also owns LinkedIn, so that's why search is so garbage. That's my guess. I mean, KFC deodorant might still be real. Sure, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. Shift Control Alt Win L. Yes, I know that's crazy that works to open LinkedIn. I don't run Windows, so it doesn't work for me. But yes, if you're on Windows, Shift Control Alt Win key L will launch LinkedIn. Thanks, Windows. Fun stuff. Did you see who bought Boston Dynamics? You could use a new keyboard, but I don't have a keyboard giveaway for you. I can give you an Amazon link to a keyboard if your caps lock is broken. Yeah, everyone's now pressing Shift Control Alt Win L to open up LinkedIn. Like I said, I'm running Linux, so this isn't a Linux problem. I don't know if this is a problem. Why would you want to launch LinkedIn like that? I don't know. I don't have an answer for that question. But yeah, so that's the lead up to the Kentucky Fried AI. I got nothing on that. Had to use my whole left hand. Yes, for sure. John Hammond did a video on editing and exploiting shortcut. I love John Hammond. I always look forward to anytime I see him in person. Hold on. I know many of you at least probably know who John Hammond is. I got a funny photo of John. I got actually several funny photos of John Hammond, but this one is one of my favorite John Hammond photos. Is this right here? I didn't know he did this. So I'm this is Kyle. He's a CEO of Huntress. we were in Washington, D.C. Huntress is at the booth. It was cool to see Kyle there. And there's John. I just love the fact that John sees the moment to photobomb me. It made me really happy. John Hammond's a wonderful person. Why would you want to keep binding for Lincoln Park Inn, and how would I remove it? I would say you remove it by uninstalling Windows. That's the first step in getting rid of it. Yes. But yeah, the John Hammond was we actually ended up hanging out. A lot of us did. And do I have a picture of him somewhere? I don't know. Thought I had one more picture of John Hammond at a party. There is a somewhere. No, I don't know where it's at now. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. It's got to be around here somewhere. I have a picture of John Hammond singing to a goose. No, I don't know what I did with that photo. I do have a picture of me and John Hammond, though. I just don't have him. Somewhere I posted a picture of him singing to a goose. It was at an after party. It was actually a lot of fun. But John, like I said, John's a great guy. Definitely subscribe to his channel if you want to dive into a him as a cybersecurity expert. I know if John Hammond is cybersecurity. Yeah, John Hammond works for Huntress, and he definitely likes the fact that there's the play on words there of John Hammond versus John Hammond from Jurassic Park. But yeah. Man, why don't I have that? I'm missing some photos somehow, I think. I feel like there's some more photos that are somewhere. But yeah, I don't know. Where's that photo at? I guess it probably doesn't really matter. I just get irked when I know something is somewhere and I don't know where that somewhere is right now. Maybe someone else took the photo and I'd reshared it. Maybe I'm remembering the wrong thing. As I have a picture of the Goots. This is from MSP Geek. So this is the right party. I know the right place where I took the photo. It's pretty cool having photobombing. Yeah, he's just a lot of fun. Anytime I get to see John, he's not at all the events I go to when I see Huntress, but it's always cool to engage with him when I'm there. Got to catch them all. Absolutely. Found a Connect X3 10G card on eBay for $28. Is that a good home lab option for XCP and GHUNAS? I think those are pretty good. I usually go with the Intel ones. I mean, I think you can get the Connect X ones from Mellanox for a little cheaper. I don't know the Mellanox support. I would check the forums first. I generally just try to go Intel because I just know they work. You can buy the Intel ones in the sub $100 range, but they're not usually getting all the way down to the $28. You might pay like $60, $70 for an Intel one, but I know the Intel ones work. Like there's not a question if the Intel ones work. How is Sophos Firewall Home Edition? I don't know. A lot of people seem to like it. It has some limitations. Some people say it's bad. Some people say it's good. I would say it's a divisive firewall because people have a lot of opinions on it. Now, one of the aggravations I have is, and this was, the talk I did on Wednesday with the Home Lab show, the lack of open source firewalls, because a lot of people don't want the rug pulled out from under them, if you will, where a subscription is suddenly required. And because a registration is required, and this is the same way Untangle works now, when Arista acquired Untangle, they got rid of the free. I don't think they have a free tier anymore with Untangle. And the same thing with Sophos. You're registering with Sophos, so it's free as long as Sophos allows it to be. this is kind of a challenge. Now, they may allow it to be free for an indefinite amount of time. You just don't know. And, this is kind of the problem I have is like, oh, my firewall, suddenly I have a crisis. I learned this tool and now it's not free anymore. So that is one of the reasons I'm kind of hesitant to try it. But I don't think Sophos makes a bad firewall product. I do know people have a lot of strong opinions of loving it or hating it. There doesn't seem to be a lot of in between. CrowdStrike or SentinelOne? So I've never done a one-to-one comparison, which is really hard to do because there is a demo that a company will give you, and then there's I've been using this product for the last few years, and that's where SentinelOne falls. So I've never tried to take our entire fleet of systems and swap them over to CrowdStrike to walk it through a year of usage to give you some in-depth analysis. I'm a big fan of SentinelOne. I can't say definitively that they are better or worse than CrowdStrike. I can't give you a real opinion on it. I think they're both good products. I don't think either one of them are one substantially different than the other. Each one claims to be better than the other, but I don't have any real solid evidence of that. They both seem to do a decent job on doing endpoint detection and response. So it's a little harder. We chose SentinelOne. I think it's easier to manage from a managed service provider standpoint. So I also don't know your situation. Are you an MSP trying to set this up on many systems, or are you an individual at a large enterprise company that is tasked with, hey, I have all of my systems that are under my management. I don't have this multi-company problem. I just need to manage all the endpoints, and CrowdStrike's willing to give me a deal. CrowdStrike seems to be willing to work and be flexible in some of that enterprise environments. My understanding, they're just less popular in the MSP space because they don't seem to have the same offering for the MSP space that they do in the enterprise space. Versus SentinelOne, we buy it through NinjaOne, and they give us multi-tenancy for managing all of it. So SentinelOne, that's my answer. That's what we chose to use. How much of the $2 do you see? Oh, from the donation. So thank you for the donation, specifically this one right here. I believe I get minus some fees. So I think the donations, they're not broke down extremely well, but I think I get, and I'm just not an expert at it, despite being a YouTuber. I think the donations come directly to me minus some service fees. It's the ad revenue that becomes a split, though. Ad revenue is split, but the donations, I believe, the majority of it, probably 90%. I don't know what a service fee is on YouTube for processing it. So, yeah. So at least most of it, I think. S1 is cheaper for MSPs than CrowdStrike. That's what I've heard from many people. Is a CLI the only way to manage ECLs on UniFi Layer 3? I don't even know you can manage them from the CLI anymore. I haven't tried that in a long time. You have to manage them through the UniFi controller, because if you try to manage something through the CLI, when the UniFi controller pushes an update to that particular switch, it's going to overwrite those. The free one does what you need it to do. Sophos UTM has a 50 IP limit. So for Sophos Firewall has different limits. Okay. What is MSP? MSP stands for Managed Service Provider. So my task, if you will. So it used to be Launch Systems. Now CNWR handles the MSP side of the business. The MSP side means the Managed Service Provider. So we manage close to 100 different businesses, maybe more. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head of exactly. We have a lot of businesses that outsource their IT to us. So we're a managed service provider for all of those IT services. I was actually working on something that someone may be interested in. I'll pull this up. Projects. Because I'm going to be redoing a lot of my website. And how do we pull this up into a graphic? Where's the view download? You know what? I can do it that way. Oh, actually, hold on. Is there a present option? Present. I like that. So how do we um do this and we go present, I guess? Present? Um, so part of my brand strategy, these are things I'm doing on behind the scenes. LTS shares technical expertise with curious people through educational videos and live streams. CNWR provides IT managed services for SMBs and consulting services for enterprise organizations. Where does Tom Lawrence fit? Well, I'm a part owner of CNWR and I'm the owner of Lawrence Systems. So if you're ever wondering how the split goes, this is going to be eventually an explainer video and an explainer page on Lawrence Systems for people wondering what happened after the merger or how the merger went. Which is not exactly a merger either. It's called a split merge. Why is it called a split merge? Because Lawrence System didn't cease to exist. So that makes it complicated for those curious what happened. And I'm very open about how we do things, how we discuss things. So this, in case you're wondering, in when I say the merger, this is what happened. Let's see. Ah, here's one of our account managers, Travis, who says it's over 100 managed clients. So yes. Um, Are you an MSSP as well or strictly MSP? Well, this is a fun topic here because we may have an inside joke talking about the extra S and MSP is shilling. But I know that's not all of them, but there's certainly a lot of people who do that. We are different because we have a security team as well. So we're actually managing a lot of this stuff internally. We're not officially what you may refer to as an MSSP, but we are running a lot of internal security. Matter of fact, I got to figure out. One of our team members was participating in a CTF and scored pretty high on the Huntress CTF. So, yeah. So we do a lot of different consulting, and we have a pretty good security team. Matter of fact, if you look up the president of CNWR, Jason Slagle, you'll find that he has CVEs to his name that he's disclosed. He's done bug reports. He's pretty heavy in the security side of things as well himself. So, yes. I hear MSP and think Michigan State Police. I agree with that. MSRP, that too. Oh, let's see. Yeah. Travis handles some of the projects along with the account management for clients. Yes. And Sam has watched Jason. Jason definitely is someone who knows quite a bit what's going on. So just wait till they hear. Yeah, MSSP is the whole. Like I said, I'm not into the. There's too much little details that people get caught up in all of that. Um, we're different, like I said, because we did awesome. I mean, we scored pretty high at that CTF. I haven't figured out if we're gonna do a press release on it too. Yes, Jason's a BSD guy as well. I do have something that just arrived today, so I can talk about it. Well, I was going to talk about it anyways. There's nothing, no embargo on it, but who knows what this is? And well, actually, this is the part that you may recognize the best. So I have more stuff to review. Um, this thing weighs a lot more than I expected. I mean, this is find something to bang on it. That's metal. That's metal you're hearing right there. That's not a Zima board. This is a what are these called? The R80 R86S. All right, let's go talk about this a little bit more because you'll find where did this go? It's on Reddit. I'll drop a link for anyone's wondering about what's going on here. So Patrick from Serve the Home has reviewed these boxes before, but this is new. There is a another system. So the companies that started making these mini PCs are now getting into, and let me open up in a new tab so you can get a closer look at it. Um, they're getting more into these right here. They're basically making inexpensive, like 1U rack mounts. So while this right here, obviously not rack mount, but nice, small, cool, tiny PC with a lot of port options on it, especially because you got your 1 gig. I don't know if these are 2.5 gig. They might be 2.5, but the bottom ones are 10 gig. So you get 10 gig ports here on the bottom, which is awesome. And then we have this here, which has now more port centers. So this is really cool. Do these come with pre-Sense HomeLab pre-installed? No. Ooh, someone all the way from the Czech Republic. Welcome. 2 S&P Plus is nice. Yes. Plus Wi-Fi 6. Yeah, they're definitely pretty cool. Back to this right here. This is something else they're sending me. And they're sending me the i3 version, but this is still pretty impressive. This is a nice little box, 1U box that you can run. They put all the different compatible OSs. They don't load anything on these onboard TPM module, but these are cool. These are cool little boxes to start testing and play with here. I think they're pretty slick. And I'm looking forward to doing some testing with them. I like the idea of some of these inexpensive systems. Now, the good and bad of these inexpensive systems. How reliable are they? Do they come with Chinese spyware installed? Look, I don't trust any OS if they shipped it, so they're always going to be uh, really. They're formatted the moment they come in. There's usually nothing on them, anyways. But for these little lightweight compute, I think they're huge for the home lab community. I think when it comes to the home lab, the home lab community's changed a lot because it used to be, hey, cool, we can get lots of cheap used servers. The problem becomes these used servers have a high wattage draw, and that's not necessarily good for the home lab. These have a very low wattage draw. So all these new mini PCs coming out, I think are awesome for the home lab. One, this doesn't take up much space. Two, this doesn't make as much noise as a large server, so it's easy if you're not someone who has a place to put something noisy. Maybe you would like something quiet in your apartment because you're a college student in a dorm and you want to do something that has some 10 gig connectivity, some fast testing, but you don't want to have something that's raging loud and has a large power draw or a high heat output. And all these little basic inexpensive computing systems are pretty amazing to me that they're coming out that they are. Would I run them in production systems? That becomes a different question. Now, we've noticed that there's been some failures among these. We're trying to gather some data by loading these up on heavy loads over time to see what the failure rate is. It's not going to be the same quality. There's just no way it's going to match the quality you're going to get out of a Dell or an HP server or a Lenovo server. But if you can get most of the way there, and the big challenge these have is just mostly they use cheap hard drives. If you swap the drives to something that's a little bit more like WD black with this I actually put a WD black NVMe in this one right here. Now you have something I feel a lot more confident in. I think that's their big lacking is they're kind of slow off-brand drives that go in there that may not perform as well and may not hold up over time. But hey, if you got good backups, I think they can be a still viable solution. Any recommendations for a conference room setup? Sure, Eco works with Zoom and Teams. We just don't get a lot of requests for those, so I don't have a ton of insight onto them. As much as we wire up buildings, we don't have a ton of people asking about conference rooms, but I do know we have sold them in the past. So if you message the vlog Thursday at lawrencesystems.com and ask about them, and I'll remember that you asked about them here, and I'll at least look up the ones we've helped, like we've done in the past. But they're very few. It's not a specialty for us at all doing any of the conference room setups. It's not not a frequent request we get. We'll do a lot of cabling and wiring, just not a lot of that specifically. Well, a lot of the mini systems are passively cooled, but that's where these differ. I don't know if you can really, yeah, you can see it right here. Oh, see if that's close enough. That is a fan. So this is not passively cooled, but still really quiet. I mean, these are laptop fans essentially that are in these. So you're not talking about something that's particularly loud. You're still talking about really low dBs, and they do have fans. So they're actively cooled. Uh, yeah, Patrick's reviews are great. He's done a lot of reviews on those. What are the specs on this one? I really don't know. um, here's the box, and here's the top of the box. Let's see if we can get the. There you go. You wouldn't believe how little information I get on these. I will, when I do the review, maybe I'll pull some screenshots of how weird the communication is to get these things. They're like, we're going to send you this. And I say, okay. And then it shows up. Well, they actually asked for my address. The only extra step was they asked me for my address. There's not like any terms or conditions here. There was like, I would like to send this thing to you. And I say, okay. And then it shows up. Like, that's it. That's it. There's no like, will you do a review? I would like to send it. I think they're just hoping I do a review. I don't know. It's strange. I talked about Clear OS, and that's owned by HP now. What's our download here? HP is where things go to die. Here we go. Where is see if we can find the change log on here. So Clear OS seems to still be updated. So there's still some this change log at least has a current date on there. There's so many of the one of the things I covered was just how dead so many of the firewall projects are. It's crazy how dead they are. Where did that go? Ah, here you go. I will, let me share something else for you guys. If you're wondering how I take notes for things. So let me stop, present, share screen, window. Will it let me share this window? I have a lot of windows open. Oh, there we go. Will that work? Share. Neat. I use a tool right now called, what is this thing called? Zettler, Zettler. And I bet it looks better if I do it like this. Can I make it bigger? If you ever wonder what notes look like from Tom, something like this. This is how I build notes for videos and things like that. I do everything in pretty much text and markdown to make my life easier. This makes it extremely portable to wherever it ends up going. So anytime I dive into details of things, this is what it looks like on the back end, like how my Blue Mirror review is going, the Bly KVM. Yes, these are the default passwords for it. Update scripts, notes for Vlog Thursday. But all that goes into just text markdown language for me. I like Zettler because it's open source. I'm a big fan of being able to take my notes and take them wherever I want. I've actually switched between different applications um, on a regular basis because they're all just text files. So it's one of the ways I handle data. I love everything being text because this Zettlers of Catan. I actually think that's funny. Yeah. Markdown is quick and easy. That's really what it comes down to, is being able to handle data and then synchronize it between all the places I want that data to be. So Zettler runs on all my different computers with SyncThing. So anytime I create a new Markdown note, it just automatically is synced instantaneously with SyncThing everywhere I want it to be. So I just drop all my data in here. This is how, if I'm doing notes in a meeting, if I'm doing timestamps for a video, that's what this tab is here. um, how did I make notes for all these things? I just drop them all in here. It's not complicated, if you will, where I just grab each of these things. Also, if I have scripts or anything like that, if you look at the Bly KVM, you just put it in Markdown. That's not it. That's Blumera. There we go. I can put all my bash scripts in there. Here's the upgrade script that they said to use for this. I just put it all in here and makes life really simple. That's always the goal when I'm doing these, is how straightforward and simple can I make this just to make it happen? And managing all your data in Markdown notes, once you've as a matter of fact, once you don't go down that rabbit hole of trying to stick it in some weird database or any proprietary software that may monkey with the way you keep your data, you can easily switch. Because I was using Joplin. I just took all the text and Markdown text from Joplin because I didn't like a couple things that Joplin had. Joplin's really cool. I think it's still a good project, but I like the more pure Markdown that Zettler does. By the way, you can take Markdown and copy that anywhere. So all the little snippets of code that I have scattered around places to do things, I can easily go through. And where's one of them? Maybe I can share that back out. Hold on. Where'd it go? Tech notes and scripts. Nope, because that's got things in it you don't need to see. One system. I put all my private notes in here too. Do I have this in? Oh, okay, cool. And this one here. Okay, I can share this one. It's just an easy way to put any of your config scripts and make it all look nice. So if I need to copy and paste any of this or put this somewhere, it's all right here. Someone wrote this whole shutdown script. I thought it was kind of cool. I haven't used it, but I thought it was neat. But it's just nice because cool. I can format this all in a nice, in Bash and make my life easy if I ever need to access it later. What do you do for images and diagrams? Once again, open source. Open existing diagram. Let me find something that looks nice. LTS. Oh, good. This is one I think I drew recently, so it should look pretty good. Same thing. We'll stop sharing, present, share screen. Window, where did it go? There it is. I've got videos on this tool. This is open source as well. This is just draw.io. So draw.io is awesome for doing this. You can go through here and, duplicate something and like, hold on, we'll say set as default style. Maybe you want to drag something up to here. Hey, look, it'll draw connectors for you. Then you can size those out so they look nice. It's not hard to do this. I have it all set to auto save, so it actually is saving these as I create them. They can be exported. I can create an animation if I need to. So I can do a flow animation. Actually, because there's a few layered on here, I don't think that's going to work the way I hoped. Something else I need to set to make that work. I have to make it less thick. But you can do a lot of cool things on these. It works well. You can bring in all these different images. They have a lot of different templates. All your little documents. This is how I drew all the drawings. If you notice, this is kind of a common theme you may see throughout a lot of my videos. Less thick, yes. Yeah, draw.io is awesome. It's just a great tool. It just works really well, and it's free. How about open source notes for saving images with text? I never really save images with text. Not a thing I do. There's tools for doing it. Matter of fact, I think, let me confirm this right here. So let me go back over to miscellaneous. I think you can do this. So let's check. I'm pretty sure I literally just don't do this very often. But I think I can paste copy image. Yes, you can paste images in a Zettler. So it works. So not a problem to do that if I need to. VS Code just been removed from BPS 13 broken electrodes. Use any DCIM? I don't really have any. If you're asking data center infrastructure management tools, I don't really manage data centers. Is that the question you're asking? Thoughts on Unraid? I don't use Unraid. I find Unraid to be that thing that people outgrow. That would be the way I would describe it. You're either a home user and you're really happy with it, or you become a power user and somewhere along the lines you become unhappy with it because you hope it supports more features. So I don't have any reason to tell you not to use it, but I will comment that it is a challenge to use. And I have a light that's going out, so that's interesting. I think I got to replace that light. So I don't know if I'm flickering much, but probably at least a little bit. Yeah, I don't have any data center management tools. We don't we manage some software in data centers. We don't manage the physical layout of the data center. Do you have or use Proxmox in the past? Proxmox is pretty good. A lot of people like it. I've not used it, so I'm not an expert on it. Like I've used it very sparingly. We see someone just contacted me the other day about another broken, well, no, not running properly Proxmox cluster. Now the challenge with Proxmox is setting it up properly. And that's definitely where most people, they just don't set it up right. They go, hey, look, it's free. And I walk through a demo, but I didn't take the time to actually build it properly. Netbox is definitely something you should check out for data center stuff. Absolutely. We use Netbox for diagram racks, cabling, and bonus is IPM2. Yeah, Netbox is great. Would it be possible that Ubiquiti buys Netgate to use them for their OS for the sense the firewall UIs are hit and miss? No, not a chance. I just realized I am behind the times when KV's mentioned. I assume they're referring to kernel versus keyboard video mouse. Oh yeah, KVM is generally kernel virtualization. The MikroTik CRS305 is quite hard to get. Something similar, 10 gig SFP plus switch that has the same functionality and not crazy expensive. UniFi makes some pretty inexpensive 10 gig SFP plus switches. They're actually pretty good. Yes, Netbox has not only an automated API. One of the Netbox is on my list of things I want to set up, and one of the reasons why. Hold on, let me pull this up here. Oops. Uh, there's a lot of integrations with XCP&G in that box. I haven't set it up, but I know they have a lot of integrations. They just did another kind of like a code sprint fixing a bunch of issues in it. Yeah, syncs with XCP&G, does vCenter with plugins as well. NetBox does have API. So absolutely. There's a lot of cool things you can do there. But I need to go get a drink. I think people want me to continue. I'll continue the live stream for a little bit longer, but I need to go get another drink. I am getting thirsty and parched, and so I will go address that issue. I have a cool, spiffy, where is it at? Somewhere. Be right back thing. So you guys can enjoy the be right back, because I'll be right back. If you're still here, I'll keep live streaming. If everyone disappears in the 1 minute roughly it takes me to go upstairs and get a drink, then I'll probably keep live streaming. Be right back. Didn't take me that long. Ooh, 11 comments. It's amazing to me that there's like this many people watching my live stream. I thank all of you for being here with me. It is keeping me very entertained. NetBox is designed to be the source of truth and actually push your configs out to your network devices. However, you can use it to straight documentation too. Yeah, automating your documentation is huge in terms of making your life easier. Welcome back. Thoughts on Linus? Linus Tech Tips is great. Linus Torvalds is great. LYNIS refers to something else, though. LYNIS. And we'll pull this up. This is actually a tool Jay from LearnLinks TV has reviewed. It's a great tool. So LYNIS is an auditing tool to audit and harden for compliance testing for your Linux systems. I think it's great. I'm not an expert at it, but definitely Jay from LearnLinks TV, who's spent more time with the tool than me, I believe he's got a whole review and tutorial on this particular tool. So yeah, definitely use it. So it's lunchtime. Okay. It's 9:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's the time zone I'm in. So It is an evening for Tom here. Actually, I'm going to bring up something that someone might find interesting. How many? Let's throw some numbers out there. How many unique visitors that I had to my forums in the last 7 days? So let's make some guesses before I pull this up. Where do these go? Where do these reports go? There we go. What is the unique visitor count for my forums? Forums.launchsystems.com. This is a fun statistic. Let me make sure there's nothing in here I can't just drop and share. Yeah, this is all stuff this is all public stuff. These are some fun stats. I love stats. And these stats are pulled from web server logs, which makes them more fun. 12,600 thousands. You don't have to see my forums. You don't have to be good at being social, because the forums are just it. Look, it's a place of tech things. You look at the responses in here and everything else that are going on. These are all going to be like CrowdSec parsing HA proxy logs, things like that. So there's, this is going to be, someone asked about how to increase iNotify limits, and I'm responding to them on that. It's extremely technical, so you don't have to be social. It's not about being social. My forums are a place of, where other techs are sharing problems and solutions. That's really what my goal is for it. I moderate it to that. I don't want any off-topic discussions. There's Discord for just chatting. I don't want people chatting. I want someone who has a problem presenting their problem and people discussing the solutions to that problem, because it has a lot of value. Now, speaking of that, this is the numbers for people that want to get an idea just how popular my forum, which this shocks me, by the way, for anyone wondering. 41,000 unique visitors just for a 7-day snapshot that I grabbed on this. So 41,000 unique in 7 days, nonetheless, not even a month. Oh, how many of those count as web scrapers? Good thing you asked. I track that. So I can actually pull that up for you to give you an idea. Now, there's surges at time of people versus web trackers. And we'll zoom in right here to this page, which will actually give you that information by this. So if you look at this, and I don't know what happened on 1023. That's what made me start parsing the logs. All of a sudden, I got popular. I don't really know why. More popular than usual, where I had 33,000 people show up on a single day. But the crawlers are only about 4,000. There's pretty average. About once a month, you see a spike of 12,000 crawlers coming through. 12,000 page views a day. These aren't unique visitors, but yeah, it's occasionally you'll see surges in popularity. I must have been a solution for someone that linked me there. So the forums have kind of an up and down for page views. So yeah, it's really oddly not PF Sense. So let's go over to the PF Sense. So if we go here and let me drop it out. I want to make sure I don't show. I can show all this stuff here. Yeah, here we go. So we got to get to the summary page at the top first. Hold on. Because this is what you can. Okay. I make sure it's not showing any of because I'm logged in as an admin right now. I can see people's email addresses. So I make sure I'm not exposing any of those. But the PF Sense only accounts for 4,000 views of those views. Only 4,000 is about the PF Sense licensing changes. So that's kind of interesting. What am I using to do this? So here's the fun part, guys. The reason I'm using this, let's talk about this. I know my audience. My audience uses all kinds of tracking and blocking. Absolutely. I'm fine with that. I expect that. If you notice, I pay for my forums. I pay for the bandwidth. I pay for the compute time. I'm the one that is buying all that because you know, say lack of ads. I'm funding it. So I also realize people use ad blockers and all the other fun things that they do. So I actually use a tool called Go Access because it's actually funny. This does not match my Google statistics because so many of you block Google. Google does not show the same stats that my web server shows. So I always use Go Access to pull web server logs so I can see who's actually visiting my site. Because the fact that you visited a site, you had to visit the site, which means you created a log entry. Now, even if I don't really, some of you and maybe many of you use a VPN all the time. So you actually skew my unique visitors if many of you are using the same VPN because the only way, well, no, it can identify you. I think I can identify you by your sessions. So it knows it was a unique visitor versus someone from a VPN, but it's still why I use Go Access because all of you block Google and I'm fine with you blocking Google. You don't hear me complaining. Ah, this stream has stayed steady, starting on an airplane, Wi-Fi to airport to Wi-Fi to AT&T, 5G to Uber and AT&T, Airbnb, Wi-Fi to Tailscale exit node. That's awesome. It's just funny. It's amazing how that works. So that's really cool. Yeah, the request headers is users versus crawlers. Matter of fact, inside of here somewhere, it does break down some of the crawlers. I forget where. It also breaks down like not found 404s. There's not many 404s. The 404s are usually looking for things that just don't exist because it's not a WordPress site. There's a ton of things that start hitting for WordPress. Browser statistics. Chrome is still the majority of you people. Chrome, Firefox, crawlers, other referring sites. Yeah, I got to break this down more. I haven't, it might be an old version of Go Access. I haven't looked to see if I'm on the latest. Sorry, don't like trackers. That's fine. That's why I'm using Go Access because you can block the tracker, but I'm actually because I'm parsing my own. I manage the server. I manage the updates for it. So because I'm managing the server logs, I get it. Doesn't Edge fit into Chrome? No. Edge and Chrome are separate from each other. I mean, they're all using the same Chromium engine. So they have a base engine that's the same, but the browser itself still sends a different header on there. Where is that information at? Huh. You know what? I'm actually impressed. There's a pretty high number here for DuckDuckGo for people that referred to my site from DuckDuckGo. That's cool. Where's that at? The other information, status codes. Browser stats. Yeah, here we go. So you actually have the browser stats broke out here. You have Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Edge, crawlers. But yeah, it's still fun. I like being able to. That's the advantage of running it there. So, TrueNAS added certificate option in MNIO in app in the latest update. Well, that's really nice of them. I was ranting about that the other day of it not being available. So, someone's listening. Oh man, it's definitely a challenge for sure. Yes, I self-host the forums. They're completely managed by me and self-hosted by me. That's a blessing and a curse. I like it because of all the access I get, but you have to maintain it as well. So Maintaining forums has its own challenges, making sure it's up to date, making sure there's no security, auditing all the users that join every day. There's I've been very strict about doing that myself. I really need to outsource it. I'm a little too obsessed with it, but I wanted to be obsessed with it until I built a big user base. I've built enough people visiting my forums and enough logged in people and thousands of users who have signed up for my forums that I can finally go, okay, I can probably hire an admin and put a process around it. Uh, for MinIO, MinIO is the short answer is it's an S3 emulation. It mimics a Amazon S3 instance. So that's what MinIO is. And people content have to, yes. I manage the forums, manage the content that goes on there, ban people, delete people, all those things that come with it. I'm in my forums twice a day as a process, unless someone messages me because someone did something stupid in my forums and they need to be banned before I get back to my run of going through the forums. Usually best to hire from the community. Absolutely. That's something bigger on my list to do. Is I've got so many things I want to do. I think I need an assistant pretty soon. So I'm trying to find someone. It's going to be better if they're local. I mean, forums doesn't have to be local to manage my forums, but I'm going to need someone local to really help me with. I have so many mini PCs I want to review. I don't have time to test them all. And I got no problems letting more people test them, but I need those people to be kind of local to me to do all the testing, the setup, and everything else. I don't mind making the videos, but I need someone to assist me on the other side of it. So I haven't figured out. I mean, I'm hiring. How's that? I would love to hire someone. Is finding the right someone who's interested in doing it. I need someone who's very self motivated. Like, hey, can you test this and throw maybe Proxmox and XCP-ng in this and do a write-up? Go. Like, that's the minimal amount of instruction I want to give and get a report back. And I don't mind paying someone. I don't mind giving some high school kids some opportunities, but I do prefer to pay people because they take it more serious at that point. Do you have a figure on hand for total banned users from the forums? Not really. There's very few. Very few people get banned. There's probably 100 over 4 years, maybe. Is there a way you can automate the testing process? Well, someone has to automate plugging this in and reloading operating systems on it. That's the challenge. And then give me the review information of what they had problems with, what drivers didn't work. That's why it's harder to automate. It's easy to automate. Well, not easy. It can be automated if you're just doing software testing. But when you talk about hardware testing, you really have to put it through its paces to do that. Now, there's a lot of cool automation tools for load testing and reporting, like Phoronix is amazing for that. Phoronix, love it. But it still takes some effort for someone to load XCP-ng, load a firewall tool, load Proxmox, and give me the answer to, what needs to be done. The people that get banned, pretty much 99% of what gets banned is always been spammers. Just people who post. One person was really an idiot. I gotta share a story with you folks. This person was just dumb. I got an apology from some pretty high ups at the company. So a company reached out to me. They were nice. I actually met them at an event. They wanted to advertise on my channel. And I said, fine, cool. We'll talk. So I talked about advertising, but I looked at their product. I said, I don't really think you're a good fit for my audience. They said, hey, maybe you mention. I said, yeah, you got a neat product, but I don't really want to do a sponsorship with you. For reasons I can't understand, one of their employees using their company domain email signed up for my forums. I'm like, oh, they want to engage with the community. Cool, that's fine. I have a lot of businesses that sign up for my forums. But what they did instead was acted like they didn't work there and then continued to post a series of responses as if their product, which is a commercial business product, was a solution to a lot of different people's problems. Hey, have any of you heard of this? It looks like a really cool product. And they would go into kind of a spiel, just looking for some feedback. And they posted several posts on my forums. I then purged the person, grabbed the screenshots, and sent it to their marketing person I was talking to, who sent back a immediate apology to me and said that person has been reprimanded. I said, good. And so that was one of the dumbest bans I had gotten. Jeff Geerling has an excellent process for documenting his process for replicating his tests. Yes. I would think the type of person that goes to your forums is either there to seek help for a problem or provide help. Yes. I don't allow anonymous email signups. That's what knocks out 99% of the spammers, is people wanting to do anonymous email. Do you use the default settings for UniFi mesh? I rarely put UniFis in mesh mode. I usually turn that off unless I have some specific need for it. Reprimanded, not fired or executed. They told me they reprimanded the person. They've never done it again. My engagement, having good conversations with the people that work there, I didn't find them to be shady or not nice. I actually just like the conversations I had with them. We talk tech. I talked to some technical people. I can't remember the name of the product, right? Not that I would shame them for doing it. It seems so uncharacteristic from the people I met that worked there versus that behavior. And I met some of the C-level people. They were all really nice. I didn't expect this behavior out of the company. So I thought it was weird. And I said, look, I banned them. They never tried it again. I'll just say mistakes were made. I actually called out a salesperson that ended up later getting fired before. And me and that company me and several companies, matter of fact, have good relationships today, despite me being very angry at the behavior of a salesperson. When Enable was a subsidiary of SolarWinds. We were using Enable when SolarWinds had their incident. And because SolarWinds is a company built by acquisition, there really wasn't the same level of incident that happened at the Enable level that happened at the SolarWinds level. They're actually two separate companies. I knew a lot of the technical people that worked there, but a salesperson from a competing RMM had contacted me and basically did a whole fear campaign of, you shouldn't be using Enable. Didn't you see them in the news? SolarWinds is in the news, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, thanks. And they were kind of pushy, and then called me a few times, and they said something that was basically untrue about SolarWinds. And by the way, how do I know it was untrue? If you have followed me long enough, you'll know one time I was on the advisory panel for the Enable Partner Program. So I had a lot of in-depth knowledge on it. And I'm like, this is demonstrably untrue. I'm fine with you throwing shade at a company who does shady things, but when you want to be a sales rep and try to push stuff like that. So I call them out, put them on blast, if you will, as I've heard the term used. And I actually got a high level up from that company, who I'm still friends with today. They reprimanded the person, who actually the person eventually ended up not working here anymore. Companies do shady things sometimes, but before you throw, saying this company demonstrably is bad, reach out and engage with them and see what happens. So yeah. Do you ever see yourself using Wazoo or doing a video on it? Tutorials are always good. I started looking at it and seeing how it is versus Splunk or Greylock. I think Wazoo is pretty neat. It's on the long tail of things to do for videos. They've reached out. So Network Chuck did a sponsored video with them, I believe. And they reached out to me to offer a sponsored video. I didn't say yes because I was like, well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do a sponsored video with them. So I didn't commit to that. I try, like I said, earlier in the show, if you weren't here earlier, I try to minimize the number of sponsors I have on the channel, because sponsors want you to do things like they say, and it's hard. I like to do whatever I want. Sometimes, maybe that makes me childish wanting to do whatever I want, but I like just to be able to do whatever video I want whenever I want to do it. Uh, Versus sponsors have like schedules they want you to keep and the hard things. So I did not say yes to them offering a sponsorship, but I don't think that's I did not do the video because I don't think it's a good product. I think it's pretty cool. I don't necessarily right now today or even in the near future seeing us using it, but I don't think it's a bad tool for a lot of people to use, especially in the home lab. Shady sales reps are the worst for sure. Hard to be trust. Network Chuck does a lot of videos. See, Network Chuck though has a lot of sponsored videos too, and it's the deal you make. Network Chuck has to have a way to pay for the way he does things. LTT is an example too. Alliance Tech Tips. I'm in a unique position of owning a business that does consulting as a way to help fund the fact that I can create videos. It's a harder thing to do, and not everyone is in that position. So I have no fault for people who take ads or sponsors. It's not in any way me disparaging it. It's all about the model that works for you in terms of how you want to run your business. LTT charges quite a bit for their ads. So I imagine Network Truck does as well. It costs a lot to run these companies. It costs a lot to run the production. I'm offsetting that cost via mostly like, I'm part owner of CNWR, I own Lawrence Systems. I have different affiliate links people click on. Sometimes people click on Amazon links. I get some YouTube revenue. I have enough revenue sources and a desire to do this and a comfort with the money I make to say this is enough. And I do some sponsored videos and they're always clearly marked. I've only got a couple of them on my channel, but I have another one that'll be coming out soon. So I try to minimize it and do just a few sponsored demos. But if you're someone who 100% relies on funding an editor and a team, well, you have to do a lot more of them. I find LTT too great for entertainment, not so much for learning. Yeah, they're kind of somewhere in between on that. They give you a lot of information about products, but they're not a tutorial company at all. Do what else he does and be like, I'll take your money, but I'll do whatever I want, whenever I want, without with your sponsorship. That's different because you're just doing an ad read. And I might start doing a couple ad reads. It's expensive having someone redo your site and redo branding and hire some graphics. I want some more shirts. That's going to take some time. Yeah. I wonder if LTT ever actually used any of the VPNs. They're yeah, shilling. I don't know. That's hard to say. You should consider consulting customer old hardware, XComs, channel giveaways after you sanitize the drives, clean up the dead parts. Yeah, well, that's tricky. We're seeing how I wanted to see how you felt about Wazoo not wanting to crash the system, just seeing if there are other SIM engines. It's probably one of the more extensive ones out there that's free. Security Onion, which also integrates Wazoo with it. So if you worked with either the Wazoo platform is pretty cool, or if you looked at Security Onion and then fed it information from Wazoo agents for an open source learning platform and SimStack, I think it's awesome. Do the ad reads at the end so we can skip them. Yeah, well, that's a whole thing. When's the Netgate sponsorship? I don't take money from. I'm not doing sponsorships for Netgate, so can be a risk to your reputation. Then you're tied to the sponsor. Yeah, I mean that is a challenge. If you go, hey, this is brought to you by blah 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 company, and blah 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 company turns out to be not great. Look at all the people that advertise for LastPass, and think about that. If you have that as an ad insert, like LastPass destroyed their own name with some silliness, like they didn't tighten up security. They had an incident, and yeah, they learned a hard lesson in reputation on that. But think about from an advertiser standpoint, people who were pushing LastPass for a while like there's some old video that someone did, LastPass, the best place to store your password, blah, 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 long before their security incident. Now, after the security incident, you watch that old YouTube video, and you're like, yeah, wow, cringe. I remember when LastPass was cool. I admire you for having established such a diverse business that allows you to not only do what you want, but it's fun to conform to someone else's standards. Yeah, it's always my goal. One of my so I don't have this has been hard. When it comes to branding and positioning, this is a big discussion I'm having with the marketing people is how I want to position myself, because one of the things that even they find a little strange is the fact that like my goals aren't revenue driven as much. Like I have a comfort I want to maintain in life. I need to make X to maintain a lifestyle. And by the way, a lot of my money goes into investments because I know one day the party's over and Tom's an idiot and he's not up with the current times and no one will pay me to do things. I say that's a day that may happen. So I am saving for retirement. So I have a lifestyle to maintain, a retirement fund in case I turn out to be irrelevant in the future. And I just said that's going to be a thing that happens. But doing that, what I refer to is optimize for happiness. That's my goal all the time is optimize for me doing things that make me happy, which really is community impact and engagement is how I measure things. Like, what do I want to do? Community impact and engagement. I like to measure, did I help people in the community? Did I teach them something? Can I give more information away for free? What is the mechanism that I need to put in place to make that happen? Those are kind of my thoughts on behind the scenes for how I push content out to my channel. Um, and I've been a long time planner ahead. I've had a wonderful, uh, serendipitous and lucky tech career. I'm not trying to self-deprecate that I didn't work hard, but I also will say right place, right time. Obviously not California, so I didn't become a billionaire in California because I wasn't in the tech bubble in the right spot. I'm just outside of Detroit here, but right place, right time, and kind of fun. Got to land at some really good companies, got to do some really cool things and continue to do really cool things with really cool companies. And that's huge in terms of what I want to do. Like behind the scenes, I can't say customer names, but we work with frequently customers that are in that Fortune 500 list, which is awesome. And I get to work on neat projects and then I get to bring that information back to you. But at the same time, I'm excited to get a relatively inexpensive, like it's funny to look at the diversity of my videos to me, but I'm doing them based on what I think is fun. I have a data center video, which I'm super excited to finish editing. I'm also excited to play with a inexpensive thing that the home lab people can play with too, which is this little box right here, relatively speaking, compared to the data center I was at. And the data center video, I paid for my trip to go out there. I got in my car. I made it part of a bigger trip me and my son did, but I drove out to Chicago. They offered to like reimburse me for travel. I said, "No, no. I actually prefer no money changes hands. There's no obligations on either side if no money changes hand." So, I went to Chicago. Actually, my wife just told me how much I spent in Chicago. I'm not happy about that. You know how much museums cost? My wife does. She let me know. She's like, "Hey, here's the credit card bill." And I'm like, "Well, that sucks." It turns out Chicago's expensive. Me and my son just had a great time there. And I didn't think about the money until I got back. Oh, let's see. The reason I went to IT is because I didn't want to become an outdated. So now I'm in, the reason I never went IT is because I didn't want to become outdated. So I'm in HVAC, which is becoming very IT-like. Soon as systems will come over Ethernet, some already wireless. Yeah, it's fun. It's just great. If you want to be in it or want to play around with it, yeah. Don't look at the receipts. True. What matters the most is I had a great time. Yeah, that's really what I look at is that I had a great time. It's how I really feel about that. I think I shared maybe a couple pictures because this was where was it? It was the last day we're there. You know, it. Here's a fun question here. Oh, this is great. So I'll start with this picture. Obviously your OSINT clue is I'm in Chicago. So you now knowing I'm in Chicago, where were these pictures taken of me and my son? What were we in? And this is a uh, obscure but interesting thing here. Bonus if you can even name the name of it more specifically than where I'm at. Where I'm at may become kind of obvious by looking at a couple pictures here. So yeah, someone figured it out really quickly. German submarine. You nailed it, man. This is the German U-boat. So yes, I was on a captured German U-boat that's in a museum. We did a whole tour of it. Man, was it amazing. This was so cool. I was like fascinated by this. I was yeah, it was great. So the bulkheads show it. um you the it specifically for anyone wondering, and this is just really cool. I'll share it here. It's the U505. And if you get a chance, if you're in the United States or if you're traveling, you'd like to visit this, I highly recommend this place. Like, this was really cool. This is the Museum of Science and Industry, but this is the U505 German U-boat. Just really cool. Really cool. If you want to go there. So I think they had two Enigma devices, I believe, on this one, and one of them has been removed. So yeah, very it was a neat trip. I'm a science nerd through and through. I don't just like tech. Science as a genre is my thing, if you will. So definitely very cool. So this live stream has gone on for 2 hours. I love that all of you have hung out with me for this long. I see other people mentioning Museum of Science and Industry is great. Is there any last questions I can answer? I'll go for a few more minutes. Is there any final questions for the crowd that you haven't got out yet that you want to know that I can answer for you in some way or be entertaining in some way before I wind this live stream down? We spent a lot of time in that museum. There's no doubt about that. Trying to work out how old Tom is. Yeah, I'm pushing 50. So you're pretty close there. I keep promising a 4-hour stream. Yeah. Um where's the Netgate coupon code? It's in my other live stream about the license change. I've already forgot it. Hold on, maybe I can remember. Maybe I can pull it up for you. Is that the same beer? I've moved on. I'm not drinking beer anymore. In case anyone's wondering. There we go. There's the TAC Light. That's your discount code if you want to buy a license for Netgate. But yeah, I moved on from beer. I don't drink a lot of beer. More people saying TAC Light. Promises. Yeah, I'm going to do a 4-hour live stream pretty soon. I'm going to do it on a Saturday though. I'm going to do it in the morning. I don't know if I'll do it this Saturday or Sunday. Maybe this Sunday I'll do it. So I will do a 4-hour live stream, a 4-hour and 4 minutes. We're going to do the 404 live stream, or maybe vlog Thursday 404. We'll do it on that one too. I like that idea, but I'll do a live stream coming up. Right now I wake up at 5 a.m. any morning, and now it is 9:50 p.m. So I am winding down. Waffles with Tom. I do love waffles. Buy now, get the 20% discount for 2 years. Yes. 50 degrees on Sunday, won't be in front of a screen. I wonder what our weather is going to be like. So, ooh, man, tomorrow it's going to be in the 50s this weekend. That's nice. We've had snow, so 50 degrees sounds pretty sounds pretty good. I wake up at 9:30. Yeah, I'm a 5 a.m. person, folks. Midwest is warming up. I'm looking forward to a gorgeous weekend. I gotta get one video for my friends at Blumera edited. Tomorrow is a meeting day. I have one, two, three, four, 5 meetings. Well, one of them is internal, so it's not really a meeting. It's me, which they scheduled for 3 o'clock. I kind of want to goof off tomorrow, but whatever. Um, yeah, tomorrow I have one, two, three, four, 5 meetings, and some of it's kind of a training with employees. I don't know if it's really a meeting, but it's something that happens. I do participate at CNWR in all the management meetings, so that's part of what I do. Um, yeah, a day in the life of Tom, though, a lot of just sitting at the keyboard and sometimes meetings. It happens, but now that I've since I merged with CNWR, if some people have already noticed, I do produce a lot more content. I get to produce a lot more videos, so absolutely thrilled about that. I have so many cool things in the queue. It's I'm going to try to wake up very early on Saturday and Sunday and edit the data center video. That way I can get it out next week or on the weekend. I have to get approval from them, so it may take them a little bit of time to review it. But I want to get that data center video done and pushed out. So that even though it's nice out, I'm going to try to buckle down and spend time inside just to get this done, because I know a lot of people want to see it. I want to see it too. So there's definitely a lot to talk about there. All right. Anything else? I think we've talked about enough. We're wandered off topic enough. So I'm going to wander out of here. Thanks everyone for joining. Awesome having all of you here. See you next time on the vlog here in my forums, or email me at vlogthursday@lawrencesystems.com. I've been answering a lot more questions on the air here, and sometimes I just reply to people. I can't guarantee a reply, but if it's relevant, I will read the question on here. But I do reply to some people if it's something easy for me to respond to. But my forums, definitely a place where, as I've talked about here, I'm obsessive. I'm in my forums a lot. I love engaging with people there because I do it in a public space and it's a lot more fun. Thanks everyone, and have a wonderful day, evening, or morning, whatever it is, wherever you are. Thanks.